Hi, Shaheen. How are you?
Hello. Hello, ma'am. Yeah, how are you? I'm fine. I'm doing fine. How are
And
you?
I'm doing great. I'd like to welcome you to my show, the best show in town. And it's a pleasure to have you on my show because I really like you so much. In fact, I love you so much. And to welcome you to my show is it's like a privilege.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I love you too. And yeah, first of all, thank you so much for inviting me to your show, the best show in the town. And I'm really very grateful to the Almighty today and to you as well, for giving me this beautiful opportunity to speak, share emotions, be a part of your show, and create moments. Thank you so much.
You're always welcome, Shaheen. And the best part about you is, why I like you? You're so faithful to whatever you say and whatever you do. That faithfulness, that look of passion and emotion and romance is so apparent on your face that, you are actually such a genuine person. This is something that I really, really like about you. The genuineness just, it glows on your face. It literally glows on your face, and that's what I love about you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It really means a lot, actually. Words coming from you is like a blessing. I always feel about that.
I think this is a mutual admiration club that we have. We
Yeah,
have this mutual admiration club for each other.
of course.
We just love each other so much. But that's a blessing. I hope the universe keeps us like this always. So
Yeah.
let us start this conversation because you have a huge fan following now. I know that for sure because people love you for your nature, for your poetry, for the person that you are. So I'd like to start by asking Shaheen Akhtar, the upcoming poet and the person who weaves beautiful words with poetry with her words. I'd like to ask Shaheen that where exactly were you born? Where did you grow up? And all these things. It would be really nice to know about your life.
Yeah. Thank you for this beautiful question. Yeah, I was born and brought up in Guwahati
Mm-hmm.
and in Kalapahar Hospital. So I guess it's in Sarabati or something. I don't know the exact place, but I was born there, and I was born on 14 July 1981.
Okay.
Yeah, so during the summers. So there's a very funny fact. Like I never had the opportunity to celebrate my birthday when I was in school because
Mm-hmm.
it used to be the summer vacation during the month of July. So I never had that opportunity to celebrate my birthday among my friends, in the school. So, and my childhood has been, just like any other child. And one thing which I really want to share is that, during my school days, I used to be a very slow learner.
Okay.
The other children would, really grasp it there and then, and I would grasp it like after I had passed that class. So that is one thing which I always used to, recall.
Can I just say something here when you're saying about slow learner?
Yeah,
You and
sure.
I have two things in common. One is that
Okay.
you never celebrated your birthday in school, and the same goes for me as well. You were born in
Oh my
summer.
God.
I was
Yeah.
born during the winters in January,
Okay.
and so I always used to have a holiday, and I used to never have a chance to distribute sweets
Right.
with my friends, and that used to really make me very sad. So my mother actually made a make believe kind of a birthday so that I could go distribute sweets. So that was something fun. And the other thing is that when you said that you're a slow learner, I would tell you that slow learners are always the best learners. Because
Right.
now you might have felt that when you were back in school, but
Yeah.
I think that slow learning is actually the best thing that anybody can do because slow learners retain it for life. Whatever you
Exactly.
learn, you retain it for life. So
Yeah.
yes. So sorry, I interrupted in between. You
No,
can
ma'am,
go
it's
ahead.
okay.
Yeah.
So I don't have much to say about my childhood. So I guess that is all. And if you have anything to ask, I'll surely answer.
Oh my gosh, you have so much to say. You have such a beautiful life. So I want to know, you have this beautiful poetry book, Words
Yeah.
from Dust.
Yeah.
I just love the title because Words from Dust, I would have never thought of such a quaint and such a romantic title for a poetry book. And so what made you write? How did you start writing? Because you're a poet.
Yeah.
And how did you start your poetry?
My poetry, I would say the first thing that poetry is my destiny. I was destined to be a poet. And I'm
Wow.
saying this with such confidence only because of my story, so which I'm going to unfold now. So
Wow.
my writing journey as well as my poetry journey started in the year 2015.
Mm-hmm.
2015 is the year when my father was attacked by a rare neuromuscular disease called myasthenia gravis. So this is a disease which very few people have heard of, I guess. So it is a neurological disorder which is caused by a breakdown of uh, breakdown of the communication between the nerves and the muscles,
Mm-hmm.
which eventually results in a malfunction in the entire body. So
Okay.
this incident has been the most shocking incident of my life because I've never seen my father, breaking down physically uh, in his entire life actually. Because my father was a person with a strong mental willpower, and he never gave up in life. And the best thing about him was that he never feared diseases. He never feared diseases in his entire life, and that was the first and the last time when he was totally bedridden. And so this incident, really hit me deep. My mother, I would say, is such a beautiful person. Every mother is a beautiful person. My mother is the root of our family. So she's the one, who always used to keep us together. And we are who we are only because of my mom and my dad, I would say. My mom has a greater role to play in my family. Obviously, my father has too. But my father, when he lived, he also used to say this, that he is fortunate enough to have the best wife in the world. So that is
Wow.
how he said.
Wow. I
So,
happen to meet your mother, and I can understand
yeah.
the appreciation that you have for her is so genuine because she comes across as a very strong woman. And and she has given birth to you, the most beautiful creation. I'm really thankful to her that I got to meet you because
Yeah.
you are actually a beautiful creation of nature, of this universe, and I really like what you look like. First of all, you're very beautiful. For all
Thank
my
you.
listeners who haven't seen you, they must see you because you're so beautiful, you're so graceful, and then you come across as a person who's a lover, who loves everyone around her. So this is kind of such a beautiful feeling. I feel so good when I come across people like this, and you are one person. I just love it, and I'm
Thank
so
you so much.
sure that I have to thank your mother for this because if she had not given birth to you and your father, of course, your mother
Yeah.
and your father, both of them, because the world needs beautiful people like you and wonderful
Same
and
here.
good people like you. So when we
Who goes
get
for
good
you as
people like
well.
this, we need to hold on to that person. We need to say, don't go, don't leave me, because I just love you so much. So, but yes, you were talking about your father, and then what
Yeah.
happened exactly? Tell me after that.
Yeah. So that incident, really devoured me from within,
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't share my emotions with my family or with my friends at that point of time, just because they were already burdened with so much of trouble, and I didn't want to add more to them, to those problems. I didn't want it to add more to their problems or their troubles. So most of the time, I used to remain silent, and I keep my thoughts to myself. I cry alone, and finally, that one night, I still remember. I just took hold of my pen and I
Mm-hmm.
started writing down my emotions. At that point of time, whatever I felt, I just started writing down on my diary. And maybe that was the turning point, which I didn't realize then. Turning point of my life. Maybe it is the turning point of my life. But then that was not the starting of my poetry journey. Gradually as time passed by, my writings transformed into poems automatically, out of nowhere. And I started writing poems. Without giving a second thought to it, I just started writing. Then my friends and my family, my relatives used to insist me, like, if you're writing a poem, so why don't you publish it? So then that idea of publishing struck my mind, and I started writing poems. And whenever I write a poem, I used to send it to the newspapers for getting it published. But then even after, I have written an innumerable number of poems at that point of time. And surprisingly, none of my poems were accepted for publication. But then I never gave up. I kept on writing and I kept on writing and I kept on sending my poems. And finally, on the 13th of November 2016, my poem titled Humanity was first published in the Assam Tribune Supplementary Horizon. And that itself marks the beginning of my writing as well as my poetry journey. So ever since
Wow.
2015, I have been writing poems. And yeah, that's how my journey began.
Wow. See, and you said you didn't have anything to say. This is this is the whole beautiful story of Shaheen Akhtar. Come on, I can't imagine you saying that you don't have anything to say. This is such a beautiful story. So that marks you the beginning of
Yeah.
of a beautiful novel that I can see unfolding in front of me, and that novel's name is Shaheen Akhtar. So yes, so like for people who are listening in to my podcast and who are going to listen into my podcast, let me tell you that Shaheen is a very passionate writer. She writes every day. She does not end her day on a single. I don't think I remember a single day when I have not read her writings. She's got it all over social media. Whenever I open my Facebook, the first thing I see is Shaheen's quotation, or she's got a nice, beautiful four-line poetry, or it's beautiful to see how monomaniacally she is consistent in her journey in this as a poet, and I really love this. So,
Thank you, ma'am.
I really want to tell you that I've gone through your words from dust, and this poetry book is actually a priceless piece of production that you have. It's priceless, and I'm hoping to see more of your books come through. But then,
Sure.
I have two of your poems here, and I really like them. I'm going to read out the first one,
Sure,
and then
sure.
I want you to read out your favorite poetry as well. Recite your favorite poems.
Okay.
So this is one poem that I really like of Shaheen Akhtar's, that she's put up in her book Words from Dust. This is called To the Mind's Eye.
Yeah.
The path is long and wide, their feet covered in white sand. As they walk through a village road, one step at a time, their pace is the same. While one walks with a wooden stick, the other holds a finger, slim and thin. A wrinkled face, old vibes, a slouched back and wise eyes accompanies a pair of tiny feet and sparkling eyes. They are generations apart, their worlds so different, but one common thing which ties them is their innocence in tandem. Both walk together, slow and steady, through that bumpy countryside road. Both look ahead towards the road they head. However, their eyes speak a lot. The wise eyes speak of memories long gone by in the midst of a life's sigh, and visible to the mind's eye, while the sparkling eyes speak of memories yet to be created and lived, and years hence, one fine day, cherish those when time shall pass by. Ah, such beautiful words. How do you do this? How do you manage to weave such beautiful lines? My goodness, this is amazing. And what's the background of this
Yeah.
of this particular poem? Can you tell me, Shaheen?
Yeah, because as you know, like I write if I can feel it. It's very important for me to feel to be able to write something, because I cannot even compose. I cannot even think of a single word to write if I can't feel it.
Mm-hmm.
So that is you can say that is the essence of my journey,
Mm-hmm.
because I first started writing when my father was undergoing an illness. So that is how my journey began. So this is also a kind of, I felt something one day, and then thought struck me, and I wrote. So this poem, To the Mind's Eye, is actually a poem of contrast. A contrast between two different generations, as you can see, childhood and
Yes.
old age. Yeah, so it basically speaks about the visualization of life from different perspectives. So from the perspective of an old man and the perspective of a child.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a poem, this poem is actually a result of my imagination of a man who has lived his life, or you can say experienced every bit of it, and walked through all these good times and tough times. And now that he has entered his old age, so how would that old man visualize life as? So on the other hand, a child who is so new to this world, who's so unknown to the vagaries of the world, who haven't yet started his journey. So he has an entire life ahead of him, and so I imagine as if the child's sparkling eyes speak of memories that are yet to be created and lived. So basically, the two generations, also bring in a contrast of past, present, and future. So the
Wow.
old man, So the old man visualizes life. So a life which he has lived in his past, and he's speaking of it. As we imagine, as if he's speaking of it in his present time. And on the other hand, the child eyes speak of memories which is yet to be created. So that represents future. So there is a contrast between past, present, and future.
Wow, your thoughts are so rich. Your thoughts are so... And then, I love your poems which you write for humanity, for people. I love those poems that you write for the poor on the streets, the deprived. I have read a couple of your poems where you write about that, you've written about that beggar on the street, and that had really touched me a lot. It was like I could see that person going through that pain, and you have depicted that pain so beautifully. That was amazing. You really have a way with words and feelings. I think because you feel, that's why you write. Because
Exactly.
you feel. You said that if I can't feel something, I cannot write. And same for me. I haven't felt in a long time because I've been very busy with some things or the other. So I haven't been able to write anything at all for a long time. So I think it's the same with you and me. We have a lot in common. So the other thing now, I would like to request you to read out one of your favorite poems. Yes.
Sure. Actually, ma'am, the poem which you just said about, that I write about, the beggar. So that is also my favorite. So I'll would like to read out that poem.
Sure. I would love my listeners to listen.
My readers.
Yes,
listeners
absolutely.
too.
Absolutely.
So the poem is titled as Rain. Rain, you give me shelter from the scorching summer heat. Kids play with you and paper boats, and I find pleasure when you bring them joy. Peace is when I hear you drip from trees overnight, a melody so soothing to the ears. But no more peace. You have been so incessant and unslackening. You keep me indoors all day long. Neither can I beg, nor can I ask for alms from the rich. I have nothing to feed my family at the end of my day, and my little ones sob in hunger and for shelter. Oh rain, I'm a petty beggar. All I can do is to beg of you. My house floats now like the paper boats. Oh rain, have pity on us. So this is about the poem.
Wow. Your poetry is very visual, So I while you were reading, I was just closing my eyes, and I was actually trying to see that beggar in that rain and his house floating away like a paper boat. It was so visually pleasing. Your poetry itself, all the words that you write, you compose, it's very visually pleasing. If I just close my eyes and just listen to your voice, I can see the words that you have composed. So this is really wonderful. You're such a talented person, seriously. And I want you to go places. I want you to reach the stars, because this is something that I have for you, a kind of a thought for you, that I want to see you reach the ultimate goal of whatever you've wished for. So, I would probably like to see you someday signing your book in somewhere in a cafe in New York or something like that. Something that's a kind of a dream I have for you. And I hope that that's going to happen. So do you have anything else that you would like to say, like about poetry, or you would like to advise the young people? Because see, I want you to advise, but before that, I want you to read out another one of your favorite poems, because just one poem will not do. I have read out one of yours and you've read out one of yours, but maybe another poem would really be very nice, and you could probably say the background of that particular poem.
Sure. Ma'am, just before I read out another poem, I would like to give a short end note to this poem, Rains, because the listeners might not get,
not be able to understand. Yes, please, yes.
So this is, as you can see the title, it's all about rain.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought of writing this poem because I personally am a diehard lover of rain. I'm sure you are also a diehard lover of rains, I guess.
Yes, I am.
We two are extreme nature lovers. So rains have always brought me happiness. It has never brought me sadness. But then, I really wanted to portray through my poems that nature can be a boon and also a bane to people at the same time. So this poem speaks about a beggar's life. So the very rain which we love so much, which we are in love with all the time, can also or has every possibility to prove to be as a cause of destruction for another person's livelihood. So this is the very thought with which I had composed this poem.
Wow. Such deep thoughts. My goodness, where do you get this? You look like such a you know what you look like? You look like a fairy who runs around in valleys of flowers. And with butterflies running after you and with birds singing around you. I just when I look at you, I see only that picture. I don't see a person who thinks so intensely and so who goes so deep into some thoughts and then composes a poem. I have never met such a beautiful woman, and at the same time it's like, you're a person who is very beautiful and very intelligent. So the combination is so rare to find such a combination. A beautiful woman with a beautiful heart and a beautiful set of intelligence. So I can say that, it's really, I can just see you wearing a beautiful pink gown and running around amongst the flowers. That's all I can see about you. I don't see anything else. I don't see the intense Shaheen.
You're the biggest inspiration of my life. I have to say this. I have to admit, like, you're amazing. You're an amazing person. I always used to say my mom and everyone around me, like, you have impacted my life in an immense way and through many ways, because ever since I've met you, the first day, what I did, I always used to observe you, and it is this observation that has helped me, to become a better person. And your vibes are very positive, ma'am. I always appreciate you, and talking about you is never enough. The list will, it will just go endless.
Thank you so much. But this show is about you today, and this show is about Shaheen Akhtar, the fairy that I have in my life, the angel that I have in my life, not about me. I thank you so much for your appreciation, and I'm so glad that I could bring some change in your life because of who I am. I'm really glad. But then this show is about you. So let's get back to you again, and let's talk about another one of your favorite poems.
Okay.
Yes.
So since we both are extreme nature lovers, so I would like to read out a poem which is based nature and nature alone.
Mm-hmm.
It is In the Wood.
Okay.
So here it goes. In the wood, let nature touch you. Go out for a stroll amidst the wilderness. Spend a night with the stars, a day with solitude, a dusk with the birds, heading towards the horizon, and an early dawn with the foggy mist. Embrace the tender wind, the sun rays, the rhythm of silence. Seek deep into the forest and beyond. The sky might drench you, the earth might leave your feet dirty. The woods might roar and the air might whisper. You might be surrounded by noises and voices, but of nature. And that is where you will find your own self, your soul. This
wow.
is it.
Wow. You know what? I'm reading as you are reading. I'm also reading at the same time. And the words are so beautiful. It's like I've been transported into a forest, into nature, and I'm actually dancing around in the woods there, and you are asking me to feel the noise and the voices out there, but of nature. That is such a wonderful thing to say. So as we come towards almost the end of our show today, let me ask you, you are young, you are very young yourself, but then there are other younger people who would like to get your advice, because you are on a consistent journey of what you love to do. You are constantly doing that one thing. Without fail, every day you're doing that one thing. So can you give some advice to poets like who are growing, or who want to become a poet like you, or who want to start writing? So what is that advice that you would like to give them?
Yeah. So, like, one thing which I practice in my life personally is to never give up, because this is the only lesson which I have learned from my father. Because he never gave up until his last. And the most amazing thing is that he never knew that it was his last, because he was always hopeful. Even till his last breath, he was always very hopeful that he would live, he would survive, he would exist. So this is the lesson which I have taken in my life personally. And I have, everybody has struggles in their life. Everybody has. Life is all about struggles and about, like ups and downs. So life is never about happiness alone or about sadness alone. So this attitude of never giving up will always take us ahead in life. So that is what I believe in, and that is applicable in every phase of life with every people. So I would like to I just like to share my opinion with the people who are budding writers or who are poets, that for writers specifically, those who are into writing, be it poetry or anything, like just don't give up and always just keep on writing and never stop writing, because to be able to write your heart out, to be able to write the truth, how bitter it be, is your biggest strength ever. And one thing which I've learned from you, which I would like to spread it to the audience who are listening now, that never fear to write. This is the lesson which I've learned from you. So never fear to speak what you feel is true. Never fear to write what you feel is the truth. So I never fear to write that is the truth, no matter whatever it be. I always write that is truth. And I've always been writing that is the truth. So this is one thing. The first is to never give up in life. Second is just keep on writing. Never, stop writing, and always write that is the truth. Always speak that is the truth. And from my life experience, I would say that there will be people to harm you, to hinder your path. There will be people who will try to distract you from achieving your goals. And there are people to talk negative about you. But then what you need to focus is always believe in yourself and believe in your pen. So just be focused and keep going. So that is all I have to say. And the most important thing which I really wish to say is that always follow your heart and do that you love to, because I do that I love to. So I'm living for myself, and when you do what you love, so that is the biggest motivation. Actually, that is the biggest motivation. You can give it to yourself. So that is all I have to say.
Wow. Is this my little baby Shaheen Akhtar, or is this some grown-up woman I'm talking to? Wow. All the advice. I'm just listening to you, I was just listening to you in rapt attention, and I was just thinking, where does all this come from? She's talking like such a matured woman. And I'm sure the man who's going to come into your life is going to be very lucky, because he is going to get a very beautiful woman. And I don't know if somebody is going to hear this, but whoever needs to hear this will have to understand that Shaheen is a fairy on earth, and she's very intelligent. She's very beautiful. She's got a beautiful heart, and she's a lover. She can just love with all her heart and soul. So you can see how passionate she is about her poetry. So you can understand how much she can love another human being. So whoever is a friend of Shaheen, I will suggest that never ever ever fall out of friendship with this female, because she has so much to offer, she has so much to give, and she has so much love within her that there will not be a single day when you are going to feel out of place with her. Because I feel totally at home when I'm with Shaheen. I feel I have reached my home. So I feel very good when I'm with her. So anybody who wants to be friends with Shaheen should become a friend of Shaheen, should take her advice, the beautiful advice that she has given to young people. Be consistent, love the thing that you're doing, live for yourself. Such beautiful words. This can come only from a person who loves to an extreme. Shaheen, I will wish you lots of love, luck, happiness. Your goals should come true, and this is what I want for you. And I want that your second poetry book or your fiction, whatever you're thinking of, whatever you're dreaming of, should come through very soon, maybe by the end of this year or the beginning of next year. Okay. I'm praying that it should come through, because you are such a wonderful writer. I'm sure you have a huge collection by now. And I'm looking for the next, the next part of your poetry collection. And this is going to be great. We must celebrate what you have to offer. And thank you so much for coming into my show, because
Thank you so
you
much.
giving me so much of time for the show. We've spoken for almost over half an hour, and it feels like we were just talking this last couple of minutes, so it was really, really wonderful. If you have
Thank you so much.
anything more to say, I would hand the microphone to you, please.
Since you have given me some time to speak, so thank you for that. Actually, I really want to say a very simple thing. There is something which we all have in our lives, something which we always share with our friends every now and then. So I'm talking about happiness. Happiness is something which we all have it in our lives in some amount because we also have our sorrows along with. So, but at times people fail to realize this or acknowledge the most simple fact of life, that we can be happy too when others are happy. Happiness is not only about personal gain. Happiness is not always about ourselves, and it is not always about I, me, myself. So when we can also be happy when we can see another person being happy, another person achieving goodness in life, or someone being blessed with something because of the life struggles that they have been through. So this is the very basic thing which we need to understand. And so the basic thing, all I wanted to say is that we should learn to be happy because another person is happy. So that is the only thing which I really wanted to say, actually.
Superb. This and I think this mantra should be practiced by everybody.
Yeah,
when we find happiness in other people's happiness, that automatically makes us a lover by default.
Yeah. And actually, I have recently composed a poem on this. So
okay.
If I have just 5 minutes, then
of course, yes, please.
Okay. So the title of my poem is "Let Me Write a Poem of Happiness." So what is happiness if not lived for others? What is happiness if you can't love people truly? What is happiness if you cannot find joy in another person's achievement? What is happiness if you cannot be the reason for someone's smile? Is happiness always about personal gain? Is happiness selfish? Should your happiness be always about you? Is I, me, myself the key to your happiness? Can't we be happy when others are? Can't we acknowledge this, that everybody deserves to be happy, and what one deserves may differ from person to person? Something which a person is blessed with, can't we accept that it was destined for them alone for a reason the Almighty knows best? Each one of us is fighting a silent battle. Each one of us has sorrows rooted deep within. None of our lives have been easy. If someone is bestowed with some goodness or happiness in their lives, can't then we be happy for them and double their happiness? What is happiness if not lived for others? Thank you.
Wow. My goodness. you actually bring tears to my eyes, tears of happiness, of course, and I feel so good when I have read this poem of yours on social media, and I have loved this poem, and you really are a beautiful composer. So I wish you luck, Shaheen. I wish you lots of luck with your pen and your words and your love and the happiness that you create around for everyone, and I hope we are going to meet soon. In person. We must meet up in person.
A long time.
Yes, we must meet up. So thank you so much for coming into my show, the best show in town.
Thank you.
And listeners, do keep listening in to my show, and do keep reading Shaheen's poems, which are available all across social media. She posts all over. So please do listen to read her poems, and if you catch a copy of her poetry book, which is Words from Dust, please pick it up. I think it's available on Amazon, right?
Yes, it's available on Amazon.
Yes, you just need to type in Words from Dust, Shaheen Akhtar, and you're going to get down to that link, and you can just click on that and buy a copy, because it's worth everything. So you need to read those poems when you're feeling very down and out, and you are going to feel really great about it. So,
thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Shaheen, darling, thank you so much for coming into my show, and all the best to you. All the best.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you.
You take care. Yes. Lots of care. Okay? Bye-bye. See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you. Bye-bye.